No issue.
Namaskar and welcome to this exciting show, Sathology, Debunking Mythology. And we have, you saw my last book on Yudhishthir, and I think it's well received. Thank you all very much for reading that book. It's a record sales. Today we have a very exciting guest who is a scholar respected a lot in Indian community on his analysis on dates of Mahabharata. You've seen him many times on this channel, and shortly he'll be coming on a big debate we are organizing with another panelist. You'll see that shortly being launched. And so, without delay, let us welcome Sri Vedvir Arya.
Namaste, Aditya ji.
Namaste, namaste. And so, maybe I disclose a secret before it happened for the debate. Uh, but
Yes,
so when we talk about Mahabharat, many
yes,
a lot of people have deep respect for Mahabharat. Even the
yes.
Americans have deep respect for Mahabharata. I can see that, especially in the academic circles, whenever the word Mahabharata is discussed, the discussions become serious after that, and people have veneration for that literature. They learn a lot from the literature, and going by the Vyasdev's own saying that all scriptures on one side, Mahabharata on one side, is all equal. So
That's true.
so that's an importance of Mahabharata for us. So before we start with the dating, where did the misconception start that we should not keep Mahabharata in the house?
uh, Actually, Mahabharata was it's a major epoch in the history. The way Greeks have the Trojan War as an epoch for the Greek history, post Trojan War and the pre Trojan War, it's an epoch, and I think a lot of even Homer's poetry, even there are many various other things which narrate the Greek history. Uh, Almost similar to Mahabharata was almost, you can say, epoch changing event, and not only a catastrophic war, it took place somewhere 5,200 years before, and at the same time Kali Yuga also commenced. So these, especially what happened, the two brothers, uh, they were fighting for a political power. Yes, some were following the dharmas, other brother may not be following dharma. Finally, the way Krishna played his role, that finally, people who were means the brother who was following the dharma, he has to compromise up to a very extent, and finally, when he pushed to a wall, then he has decided for a war. So, what happens generally, astrologers as well as the elders in the house, so generally think that if you have a copy of Mahabharata in your house, probably the two brother may land up in fighting. So it's just a kind of a superstitious, what can I say, some kind of a an assumption. But they should know that with Mahabharata only you would learn so many things which we may not even learn in our small lifetime. So Mahabharata, Yadihasti Natadanyatra, it has been said by Maharata, whatever is here, it is nowhere it is, and whatever it is, that itself is everywhere. So
Like
that is stated in Sanskrit.
great point, and I think to do some more marketing of Mahabharata, I can add. Vyasdev says that whichever family has Mahabharata in their house, there is all
Yes.
kinds of happiness, fame, and wealth. So I think that will also motivate. But don't keep on the bookshelf. Open it and read.
Yeah. Yes.
And no
Yeah.
Aarti
Now
once
the
a year.
but it is other way around. There was some other religious text which is creating so many fights in all over the world.
Yeah.
Not only there, the within their own countries, but I don't know why the Mahabharata is being blamed.
Yes. So, so when did Mahabharata start? And You can show your slides
Yes,
whenever you're
yes.
ready. And when did
Just
Mahabharata
going,
start?
yes, Aditya. One thing we must be clear about it, that it's whenever we date Mahabharata event, we can't do it in an isolation, because we have a continuous history starting from Mahabharata onwards, and it has been written in various texts. We have a literary evidences, epigraphic evidences, and numerous external evidences. So we have to reconcile all the evidences, external, internal, traditional, and of course the astronomical evidence is available in internal and external sources. It is very important because there were certain gaps before Mahabharata chronological history. But from Mahabharata, there is no way, because the traditional evidence clearly indicates that there was no discontinuation of a traditional history. So, when we date Mahabharata, let us first go to, I'll just share my screen. Uh, yes. So, according to Mahabharata, it's a Antare Chaiva Samprapte Kalidvaparayora. So, in Adi Parva, it is stated that Mahabharata war took place at the end of Dwapara Yuga, means Kali Yuga has just begun or just commenced. Reckoning of Kali Yuga has been started when Mahabharata war took place. And same point has been, I think, another three shlokas I can present you in Udyoga Parva. That though it is in a different context, but it says Spita Sasyas Mukhe Kale Kalehe Sattva Vatamvara and Upavrittaha Kalir Mahan. Then Etat Kaliyugam Nama Achiradyat Pravartate. Achirad means just Achirad mean just few years back Kali Yuga has been commenced, what has been stated in Vanaparva. So last, I think many in our sessions on your Sattology, we have discussed the Yuga chronology, how to date the Yugas. So as per before going to this those Yuga, like 28th Krita Yuga, based on the Surya Siddhanta, that Surya Siddhanta says that Mayasura wrote Surya Siddhanta at the end of Krita Yuga. So that can be exactly dated based on the conjunction of all planets in Aries, that is 22nd February 6778 BC. So it means the Treta Yuga commenced around 6777 BC. Thereafter, it was 1200 years Yuga was in vogue during that time. Thereafter, 2400 years, because we have enlarged the Yuga from 1200 to 12,000. Therefore, Dwapara Yuga had 2400 years. So this is how the end of the Dwapara Yuga was 3176 BC. Apart from this Yuga chronology, there was a Saptarshi calendar. At the end of Krita Yuga, when Surya Siddhanta was introduced by Mayasura, at that time many calendars got reformed. So in that context, Paitamaha Siddhanta introduced a cycle. It's not a calendar. Calendar was the Vedic calendar. That 5-year Yuga calendar continued after 677 BCE, when Treta Yuga has commenced. But the Saptarshi, because earlier during the Rigvedic era, they used to count 5 years, then Chaturyuga of 20 years. So then they just counted the elapsed yugas and elapsed Chaturyugas. So this was the only methodology to count the elapsed yugas, elapsed Chaturyugas during the Rigvedic era. But now the problem is, though Yuga remained 5, but Chaturyuga length has been increased phenomenally, because that time. So now, in one lifetime, one Yuga may not end. So due to this, there was the requirement to how to count because a continuous civilization, those are the very learned astronomers, they needed a methodology to count the elapsed years. So what they did, they just wanted to name 100 years after one nakshatra. because 27 nakshatra list has been finalized by the end of Krita Yuga. So now 27 nakshatras were very good methodology to remember that, okay, first 100 years have been assigned to Ashwini nakshatra. So this is how every 100 years it has been assumed that Saptarshis were in one nakshatra. Actually, it's not not an astronomical fact. It was just for the convenience of counting the elapsed years. That's why the 2700 years, because every 100 years have been named after one nakshatra. So you take 2700 years. So the 2700 years cycle has been introduced in 677 BC when the Treta Yuga began, or Krita Yuga 28th Krita Yuga ended. So there was the Kali Yuga Raja Vrittanta, not only Vayu Purana, Brihat Samhita, even Vriddha Garga, Vishnu Purana, even one Hisse Borala inscription. This has been found in Maharashtra, near, I'm just forgetting, the northern Maharashtra. In that inscription, it has been stated that Saptarshis were in Uttara Phalguni. When Shaka, some 380 years have been elapsed. So as I told you, Shaka era 583 BC. From there, if we count the 380, it becomes 203. So 277 BC to 177 BC, during that time, Saptarshis were Uttara Phalguni. So this Saptarshi cycle, Indians, why they started using, just to remember the elapsed 100 years. And same tradition was there in the North India and even Kashmir, even Multan area. Al-Biruni also mentions that there were 2-3 different traditions of Saptarshi cycles. So it has been stated that when Yudhishthira was ruling in Indraprastha, that time Saptarshis reached to Magha Nakshatra. So what we have to do, I just tell you, you have to start from the 677 BC. This is an epoch, because that is the Treta Yuga has just begun. And since we have abandoned the Vedic calendar and then some reformed 5-year Yuga calendar, we started using 6777 BC onwards. And under Paitamaha Siddhanta, this 2700 years cycle. So what you have to do, every 100 years you just assign starting from Ashwini Nakshatra, 677 to 6677. Then one cycle ended around 4177 BC. Then Ashwini Nakshatra, again second cycle of Saptarshi cycle. So finally 3177 to 3077 BC. During these 100 years, Saptarshis were in Magha Nakshatra. So Yudhishthira can only be dated during these 100 years, because traditionally in various sources it has been stated, it is not there in Mahabharata, but all Puranas, even the various other texts like astronomical texts, Brihat Samhita, even Kali Yuga Raja Vrittanta, they mention that when Yudhishthira was ruling in Indraprastha, Hastinapura, that time Saptarshis were in Magha Nakshatra. So we get only this 100 years band where Mahabharata war can be fixed based on this Saptarshi calendar evidences. And the, as I told you, the Mahabharata internal evidence, at least 4 shlokas, refer that Kali Yuga has just begun before Mahabharata war. Then what we have to do, as I told you, Mayasura Surya Siddhanta, 22nd February 6778 BC. Thereafter, the Krita Yuga ended, then Treta Yuga for 1200 years, then Dwapar Yuga was for 2400 years. So Dwapar Yuga ended 3177 BC. What we have to understand, this Yuga was just a calendar. So we cannot expect that all calendars, means there were various Siddhantas. Surya Siddhanta has triggered for evolution of many Siddhantas. So Paitamaha Siddhanta, which followed the Saptarshi calendar, according to Paitamaha Siddhanta, 3177 BCE, the last year of the 5-year, that 100-year cycle. So 9th January 3176 was the Magha Shukla Pratipada. Because Vedic calendar followed the Magha Shukla Pratipada only as a new year. So under Saptarshi calendar, if you want to start a Yuga, it can start only whenever the 100-year cycle ended. You can't start in midway. So 3102 BC does not fit into the Saptarshi cycle because you can't start in midway the Kali Yuga at 3102 BC. So according to Saptarshi cycle and the Paitamaha Siddhanta that followed the Vedic calendar, Magha Shukladi calendar, based on that, the Kali Yuga began around 9th January 3176 BC. And as I told you, there was a Brahma Siddhanta, which was just an offshoot of Paitamaha Siddhanta, because during Vedic era, we followed only Sharadadi and Magha Shukladi calendar. But Brahma Siddhanta, under the influence of Surya Siddhanta, they accepted that yes, we must follow Chaitra Shukla Pratipada as the first, as the new year, beginning of the new year. So Brahma Siddhanta began around 5th February 3173 BCE, and the Kali Yuga, and it must commence from Prabhava Samvatsara, because the Yuga cycles also comply with the 60-year cycles also. So in case the Kali Yuga must begin in Prabhava Samvatsara, since 3176 BCE under Paitamaha Siddhanta, the 100th year ended under Saptarshi cycle, because under Saptarshi cycle, Yuga can only begin when 100 years have been elapsed. You can't start in midway. But Brahma Siddhanta does not follow, did not follow that 100-year cycle. They just followed the Chaitra Shukla Pratipada calendar. That's why they say 3173 BCE. And this is the reason when Yellaya is the astronomer who wrote a commentary on Surya Siddhanta, he mentions that Kalyabda Ruparahita Pandavabda Prakirtita. The epoch of Yudhishthira era, or the epoch of the Pandavabda, according to him, 12 years after when 12 years elapsed in the Kali Yuga, then the Yudhishthira era began. So this 12 years must be counted 3173. If you minus 12, 3161 BC. So it means 3162 BC was the date of Mahabharata war, according to this Brahma Siddhanta. Then there was a Vaishnava tradition. They followed though they followed Chaitra Shukla Pratipada, but according to them, Prabhava Samvatsara can only commence when Brihaspati is located in Dhanishta Nakshatra. Brahma, even Brihat Samhita Varahamira refers to this. So this is how the Vaishnava tradition had a different 60-year cycle. So they wanted to commence a new year at 31. So the Vaishnava tradition, Kali Yuga, began on 24th February 3126 BC. And Latadeva, when he wrote Surya Siddhanta under the influence of Mayasura Surya Siddhanta, he wanted a conjunction to begin a Kali Yuga. So he found a conjunction around 17, though it was not a perfect conjunction, the way a perfect conjunction was there at 22nd February 6778 BCE. But Latadeva argued for that there should be a conjunction. So 17-18 February 3101 BCE, on Chaitra Shukla Pratipada, a conjunction of 5 planets took place in Revati Nakshatra. But it was not a Prabhava Samvatsara, it was a Vijaya Samvatsara. So you have to understand that there was not only one tradition, because generally what happens today, we just assume that 3101, 3102 BC was the epoch of Kali Yuga. It is not correct, because if you go back to Varahamihira's time, or just 100 days, that we started following the Latadeva Surya Siddhanta calendar only last 2000 or 2100 years. Before that, we used to follow the Yudhishthira Samvat. If you remember the Jyotirvidabharana, the Kalidasa says that more than 3000 some odd years have been elapsed in Yudhishthira Samvat, and Yudhishthira Samvat has been abandoned. So Yudhishthira Samvat was following the Vedic calendar of Magha Shukla Pratipada. Then we have abandoned the Yudhishthira Samvat, then followed the Latadeva Surya Siddhanta. So this is the reason all inscriptions in India, they just give Kali Yuga year only after 3000 years. There is no record of epigraphic evidence use of the 3102 BC as a Kali Yuga. before 1st century BC. So this way we have to understand that there was a different epoch of Kali Yuga, but only some within 70-75 years, because everybody was almost at same pace, that in the 32nd century BC Kali Yuga is going to begin. So for Saptarshi calendar, it began already at 3176 BC, where the Brahma Siddhanta 3173 and Vaishnava tradition 3126 and Latadeva Surya Siddhanta 3102 BC. So this the difference between the calendars and the epoch of Kali Yuga has to be understood before working out the Mahabharata state. Since Mahabharata followed only 5-year Yuga calendar, that I will just mention you, because this is the very important to understand, because you can't start 310 following the only one epoch. You cannot start the Kali Yuga in Paitamaha Siddhanta, Brahma Siddhanta and various other Siddhantas. Only one epoch cannot explain the real epoch of Kali Yuga. So based on this external and evidence of Saptarshi calendar, as well as the beginning of Kali Yuga and other, the 3176 to 3076, these 100 years where Saptarshis were in Magha Nakshatra. It means those 100 years have been assigned for Magha Nakshatra, just to remember the elapsed years. Then there is an inscription in Aihole in northern Karnataka. This inscription clearly mentions a date in Shakaira as well as in Mahabharata era, in the epoch of Mahabharata war. Bharatad Ahavaditah, it has been mentioned in Aihole inscription, that when Shaka 556 years have been elapsed. So what I have established the Shaka epoch in 583 BCE. If you minus 556 years from 583 BC, 27 BC, from there onwards, if you go calculating back, because this inscription refers to that 3,105, 3,135 years have been elapsed up to 27 BCE from the year of Mahabharata war. So if you just add 3,135 years in 27 BCE, the date is 3162 BC. So this is how external evidences indicate that Mahabharata war took place in 3162 BCE. Why I am insisting on this? Because there is no internal evidence to establish a sheet anchor date in Mahabharata war. Because if you see, many scholars have given a date somewhere 3200 to 3100, or even Narahari Achar 3067 BC around. Thereafter, even some scholars dated Mahabharata war around 1900 BCE. Some tried around 1400. Even some scholars fixed the Mahabharata date around 800 or 900 BCE. And all are following the astronomical evidence. The problem is because the planets and the nakshatra, there are cyclical. So you can establish a date within 100 years, 200, 300 years, similar kind of a position sometime. But the problem is, how can we find out a sheet anchor date? Because there is no internal evidence to establish a sheet anchor date for the Mahabharata war. So we have to rely on the external evidence to fix the date. Then establish the astronomical evidence, internal astronomical evidence to validate the date established from external sources. So the methodology, what I have adopted is, we have to reconcile all evidences, internal, external, as well as the genealogies given in in Puranas and all resources, because entire Indian tradition, whether from Kashmir tradition or even Tamil Nadu or Assam or Afghanistan, everywhere traditionally it has been recorded or given from generation to generation that Mahabharata war took place at least 3100 BCE. This generally 5100, 5200 years traditionally accepted date. So before going to this, What I will do, let us now, I have established 3162 BC as a Mahabharata war based on the external evidence of Saptarshi calendar and the Aihole inscription, and then the Yuga chronology. So there are the three external evidences to fix date of Mahabharata war. Now we have to evaluate the internal evidence. Those astronomical references are available in Mahabharata. How these astronomical references can be corroborated in 3162 BCE. So before going to this, first this is the very famous shloka. This is related to Arundhati Vasishta observation. P.V. Vartak ji, he was the first who has referred to this shloka, saying that Yatesha Vishruta Rajan Strailokye Sadhu Sammata Arundhati Tayapyesha Vasishtha Prishtatah. In this shloka, if I just Aditya ji, I will draw your attention to the Sanskrit words, because generally what happens, translations. If you translate in different way, then you say it is the sheet anchor date, then it becomes very, very difficult. Then if a particular shloka has two valid translations, then that cannot become a sheet anchor. Then you have to correlate what is correct, what is wrong. So in this one, if you say asit is a verb used in Sanskrit in bhutakala, in past tense, and kritaha is a word where the kri bhute tak tavatu nishta, it's a rule of Panini, and this pratyaya, the ta pratyaya kritaha, is only in the past. So Vyasa is telling to Dhritarashtra that this happened in the past. If you understood, he is actually counting the bad omens in this. He was warning the Dhritarashtra, stating that these are so many bad. Certain things are concurrently occurring. Some is referring to the past. The bad omens took place in the past, and the same can repeat again. So if you see this shloka at the end of the same parva, he said, Pitur vacho nishamyetad dhritarashtro bravididam. Dishtam etat puramanye bhavishyati na samshayah. Pura. Such bad omens occurred in the past. Bhavishyati na samshayah. So this will repeat again. I have no doubt that these bad omens may repeat again. So what is the mistake done by the P.V. Vartak and others? Because they say that this is a bad omen that was concurrently taking place at the time of Mahabharata. But the verbs used is in the past tense. So we have to say that such event took place, but this happened in the past, and same may repeat again. This is the warning given by the Vyasa to Dhritarashtra. This is etat puramanye bhavishyati na samshaya. So therefore, what is my opinion is that we have to take the reference of Arundhati Vasishta observation is a reference to the past observation, not the observation made during the time of Mahabharata. Then another thing, what calendar Mahabharata Vyasa followed here during the Mahabharata? Because this is the very, very important to understand in the Mahabharata, whether they followed the Chaitra Shukladi calendar, what we follow today, that Surya Siddhanta, or they are following the Rigvedic era. But in the shlokas and there are numerous other evidences. Many scholars also established that during the Rigvedic era, Vyasa followed the Vedanga Jyotisha calendar. The Vedanga Jyotisha 5-year Yuga calendar. Why? It is Sabha Parva, it is mentioned Samvatsaraha Panchayugam. There were 5 years. Ahoratras Chaturvidha Kala Chakram. Then he said Anu Samvatsaram Jata. Panduputra Vyarajanta Pancha Samvatsara Iva. So he is comparing the 5 years of the Vedic calendar with the 5 Pandavas. Pancha Samvatsara, because there is a Samvatsara, Idvatsara, Parivatsara, Idavatsara, Anuvatsara, and Idvatsara. So every 5 year has a different, every year in the 5-year Yuga, at a different name. So he is comparing 5 years with the Panduputras, 5 Pandavas. Then there is another reference. He says that when intercalation month has to be inserted in a calendar, so in Virata Parva, Tesham Kalatirekena Jyotisham cha Vyatikramat Panchame Varshe Dvau Masa Upajayate. So here, actually, Bhishma was this statement was made by Bhishma. Panchame Pancha, every 5th year, there would be a second intercalation has to be made in the calendar. So, in a Magha Shukladi calendar, after 2.5 years, Ashadha intercalation is there. Thereafter, in the 5th year, there is a Pausha intercalation. So, based on that, what I did, since this Vaidika Yuga calendar, this Vedanga Jyotisha calendar or 5-year Yuga calendar was used in the Paitamaha Siddhanta. So 677 BC onwards, they are doing so. 3177 is the end of the 5th year. So the first year and of the 100-year, as well as the first year of the 5-year cycle, has begun in 3176 BCE, that is 9th January 3176 BCE. Means 8th January 3176 BCE, the 5-year one Yuga cycle has been ended. Now Magha Shukla Pratipada was 9th January 3176. The first 5-year was 11th January 317 BCE, then 317 BCE to 3166, then 3166 to 3161. So according to my studies, the Mahabharata war took place in the 15th year, starting from the 3176. It means it was the 5th year of the 5-year Yuga cycle, because 5, 5, 5. So the Mahabharata war was the 5th year. So there was a one intercalation of Pushyamasa. So this is how the Vedic calendar. Now, when Pandavas left for Vanavasa, there is a reference that a solar eclipse took place. As I told you, somewhere already Yudhishthira was ruling in Indraprastha, because according to Kali Yuga Raja Vrittanta, when Yudhishthira was ruling in Indraprastha, at that time Saptarshis reached Magha Nakshatra. So 3176 and 3177 BCE, at that time Yudhishthira was already in Indraprastha. And I think it appears that he reigned around 10-12 years there in Indraprastha, 3189 BCE. Then thereafter he continued. I think he lost his entire kingdom in the Dyuta. So the 3176 BCE, it appears that we can say somewhere in the January 3175, the Yudhishthira lost his kingdom while playing the Akshadyuta. So this is the 25th February 3175 BCE. 25th February, because when Pandavas left for Vanavasa, there is a reference of a solar eclipse. So this solar eclipse can be perfectly and exactly datable. So we must claim that this is the earliest datable solar eclipse in entire world, because there are many solar eclipse references in the Babylon as well as in the Chinese sources also. So generally they date that the references in the Chinese literature are in the Babylonian the tablets. The solar eclipses, though they go up to even 3000 BC, but the Mahabharata reference has to be exactly datable and the oldest solar eclipse reference in Indian literature. So this is the solar eclipse took place when Pandavas left. So we will get the exact date when Pandavas left Hastinapur Vanavasa for 13 years. So you may be aware there was a controversy about whether according to the rules agreed by the both parties, if Duryodhana finds if he finds out the location of Pandavas, then they have to go for another 13 years of Vanavasa. So what this Duryodhana, it appears that he says that no, I now found out that they were in the Virata Virata kingdom. So now they have not completed the total 13 years. So they have to go back again another 13 years Vanavasa, where Bhishma explains very perfectly that no, actually they have completed more than 13 years. How he explains it, what he says, Tesham abhyatika pancha dvadasha cha kshapaha trayodashanam varshanam itime vartate matihi. What he is saying, in lunar calendar, what exactly if we calculate, the Pandavas completed Vanavas of 13 lunar years, mean 354 days into 13, then 5 more additional lunar months and 12 nights. So total the period completed in a Vanavasa is actually 13 years. That is a Trayodashanam Varshanam, 13 years, Masaha Pancha, 5 months, Dvadasha Chakshapaha, 12 nights. Okay. Now we have the exact date of the day Pandavas left, that is the 25th February 3175 BC. That is the Falguna Amavasya on that day. So exactly we can say that Chaitra Shukla Pratipada, Falguna Amavasya, they left for the Vanavasa. Then 12 years completed on 13th March. Because what I'm saying, we have to follow the Saptarshi calendar, the Vedanga Jyotisha calendar for calculating the years. Because we have to intercalate, the intercalation has to be done based on the scheme given in Vedanga Jyotisha calendar. Because 5 year have the Ashada and the Pushya intercalation. So I have used that, and 3164 3163 BC was the Ida Vatsara, the third year of the 5 year Yuga cycle. So that time Ashadha intercalation was there. That's why the 13th March 3163 Falguna Amavasya was there. So they have completed 12 years on 13th March 3163 BC. Now, what Duryodhana claims that starting from the 13th March 3163 BCE, so their year should end only 12th and 13th March 3163 BC, because 365 days minimum in a year, 366 days actually in the Rigvedic calendar. So he was expecting, so it appears that he caught them somewhere in the 11th, 12th March 3162, at least 2-3 days before. Now he says, since they have not completed the Ajnatavasa of 365 days, so they should go back to 13 years. Where Bhishma clarifies, so what is the 13 lunar years? If we count the total Julian days in the modern, whatever the Julian, but if we count the number of dates elapsed from 25th February to 11th, 12th March also, what Bhishma says, 13 lunar years, 29.5 days and 156 total, 4,602 days. Then 5 lunar months, 29.5 days into 5, 148 days. And the 12 nights into that, if you add on these all things, it would be 4,762 days they spent in exile from 25th February to 11th March. Now what you have to do, you have to convert 34762 days into lunisolar calendar, or you can say solar calendar. Then what you have to do, 366 into 13, it comes 4,758. Understood, Aditya? So 4,758. Actually, total days they spent is 4,762 on 11th, 12th March itself. It means they have spent 4 days more than the what actually expected of 13 lunisolar years. Though their Ajnatavasa may be 1 or 2 days short. So nowhere it is a total 13 years they have to complete, and last 1 year in Ajnatavasa. Nobody is asking that they must complete a lunisolar year of Ajnatavasa in the 13th year. This is the how the Bhishma explained, and finally he convinced the entire Sabha, stating that yes, Pandavas have completed total 13 years of Vanavasa. So this was a very problematic that time. Otherwise, if they would have been lost this, I don't know, they another 13 years, the history would have been changed.
So the Mahabharat war happened in the cusp of Dwapar and Kali Yuga transition.
Yes.
So the the birth of Duryodhan is important here because the
Yes.
birth of Duryodhan began. It started. It actually said that the Kali Yuga has started when Duryodhan was born. He was the avatar of
Huh.
Kali,
Yes.
and Shakuni was the descendant or avatar of Dwapar Yuga.
Yes.
People don't know that, but it is mentioned in Mahabharata very clearly. So now, do you have the calculation when he was born, Duryodhan?
Huh. Um, Actually, there are no exact dates of the births have been given in Mahabharata. What we have to do, we have to only go by one. Uh, when this Mahabharata war took place, from there onwards, we have to go back and first we have to establish the Yudhishthira's coronation in Indraprastha also, because we generally fascinated of dating of Mahabharata war, we have to establish the date of Rajasuya Yajna and other. So there is a shloka in the Mahabharata or even in the not Mahabharata, there is a one text. I'm forgetting where the date of Varahamira has been given. In that one, Swasti Shri Surya Sunuja Shakan Ripe. So the date what he is referring to 3188 BC epoch. So he is using the 3188 BC epoch. It means the date when Yudhishthira was coronated in Indraprastha. So his Surya is the Rajasuya Yaga because the all these our Arjuna and other they traveled up to the Uttara Kuru and the Sahadeva went up to the south and entire India. They have almost we can say they have conquered to so that Rajasuya can be done. And interestingly, even a Chinese king, probably grandson of the Yellow Emperor, sent the tributes and I can say some presents to Yudhishthira when Yudhishthira was doing. Even from Armenia, Arattas, the reference to the Arattas, well, Armenians, they sent the presents and tribute to the Yudhishthira. So so it was a massive a victory for Yudhishthira at that time. He was the length and breadth estimating is it may be a little difficult, but yes, the first time, yeah, even after Raghu, I can say that Yudhishthira reached such a great extent, such a vast empire. So 3188. So we have to
This
go back to the before that to come to the date. So before that we have to have a date of the Shantanu. Then because Vyasa, because based on that age, so according to my estimation, somewhere the date will be 3222 or 3223 BC. So at least at the time of Mahabharata war, they were somewhere 58, 59, 55 to 60 years of age.
actually the many of the acharyas, and I'll go by the tradition here, they assumed that the Krishna's age was around 90,
Ah,
and 90 or little less than 89 maybe. Arjun was also that age, and Duryodhan must be a little older than that.
yes.
Duryodhan and must be same age as Bhim. Bhim and Duryodhan similar age.
This concept, why what I have seen generally, what happens, people fix the date of Mahabharata using the 3102 BC as a Kali Yuga epoch. Then they go back to 36 years back. Okay. So then 36 years before Kali Yuga, a Mahabharata war took place, and Sri Krishna died in on the day of the Kali Yuga. So due to this misconception, they just take that like 125 years of age of Sri Krishna and others. So what I told you, the first we have to fix the Mahabharata date. Then we have to work out the chronology of another. All references to 125 years of Sri Krishna or the later editions
Okay.
during the Gupta period and this one. Because Dhritarashtra, he was alive for at least 15 years or 16 years after Mahabharata war. because he was in Hastinapura. Then they go to Vanaprastha or some ashrama for their final journey. So Yudhishthira was, Dhritarashtra was alive up to another 16 years after Mahabharata. It means that Duryodhana's father, if Duryodhana has to be 89 or 90 years, then Dhritarashtra must be somewhere 106 years minimum, at
Exactly.
least 16 years. Then it is a very phenomenon. It is very rare. Only Vyasa who could live up to 130 years or 132 years. That is not impossible. But everybody in Mahabharata can't be living more than 100 years. Where the Abhimanyu died only 15 years, and many other like Parikshit and other, they could not even live 60, 70 years of age. So the age related problem is due to the 3102 BC, and considering that Sri Krishna's death, then calculating the years and assuming the 125 years, that has created some confusion. Therefore, all at 90 years of age, I don't think any person can fight such a massive war when many youth are fighting. So a person, only Bhishma, he was the only oldest person at the Mahabharata war. Probably he was the 85 to 90 years old minimum. He has to be. But other, all, even Krishna or Yudhishthira may be 60, 61 years old, where the Krishna and Mahabharata must be at least somewhere 58 or 57 years old. And thereafter, after 36 years, because after Mahabharata war, they lived almost minimum 36 years, Sri Krishna, because all have died after, all Pandavas died only after Sri Krishna's death. Sri Krishna's Nirvana only. So this is so we have to have the scientific the analysis. It is not possible that everyone can at a one generation all can live more than 125 years. If Sri Krishna lived up to 120, every Pandava lived more than 125 years. At least Yudhishthira lived more than 120. He was elder to Sri Krishna. So it appears very, very difficult.
No, I think most of the Americans who are watching it now, they are shocked to see that we throw BC so much out of the context, and
Okay.
and we have thrown so much of and it's a good thing because they all need to understand the Indian civilization is far older than what they have ever been told about it. Normally they have been told that Indian civilization is just few years here and there, or everything is a mythology. And so, but for them to discover that Indian civil, our dates calculation is also much more different, and based on the yeah, go ahead please.
Uh, yeah, please continue.
So based on the epochs that you're mentioning, can we arrive at our date structure
Yes.
irrespective of the BC and AD calculation?
Yeah, certainly. What we have to do first, we have to establish the date of Buddha, because the Buddha Nirvana is a very, very important epoch for us. That is the bridge between the Mahabharata chronology and other. Because
Correct.
we can't just skip the 1,300 years of history and they say that there are Mahabharata war took place. No, we have to show the continuity of the chronological history as well as the even historical and chronological continuity. In that one, dating of Buddha, the entire world misled during the colonial era. According to our tradition, we started from the Mahabharata war, and they say after 1200 years, 1200 to 1300 years, during that time Buddha lived and he
1250.
attained Nirvana.
Exactly. 1250.
1250 years or to, what roughly means his lifetime has to be fixed 1200 to 1300.
In the
Because after 1500 Nandas, so before Nandas, at least 200 years before Nandas, Buddha attained Nirvana.
No, actually, the Nanda came 1,150 years. The Bhagavad Puran says it very clearly. And
Uh,
then
it is this is another issue. If you add on the regnal years given regnal years for the all the three, for the Brihadratha dynasty reigned 1,000 years. Thereafter, 135 years for the Pradyota dynasty. Thereafter, another 360 years by Shishunaga dynasty. So if we add up these, it goes to 1500 years. So now this whether Nanda for 1500 years or 1050, it's because Buddha dating Buddha after Nanda would be almost impossible, because already Ashoka and the Mauryans during that time Buddhism was very much present. Even Kautilya and others, they have their in Arthashastra, even various other texts. Even during the Bindusara's time, the Subandhu, Subandhu wrote Vasavadatta. Even Katyayana and Panini and others, they existed during the Nanda dynasty. So therefore, the dating of Nandas, according to my chronological studies, we have to follow the regnal years given in that one, because in a Sanskrit it is a Panchashat or Panchashat. Only the dirgha in between is known. If that got missed while writing, so Panchashat became Panchashat, or Panchashat became Panchashat. So we have to reconcile this, because Kali Yuga Raja Vrittanta, what has been Kota Venkatachalam and even Narayana Shastri, even some Krishna Shastri, who gave in the entire shlokas of Kali Yuga Raja Vrittanta in a text in his the history of Sanskrit literature. So in based on the Kali Yuga Raja Vrittanta, it is actually 1500 years have been elapsed. So this is how we have to reconcile the Buddhist chronology and then the Puranic chronology. So Buddha Nirvana is there. Once we establish that perfectly, then entire world chronology has to be revised accordingly, because if Buddha date has to be changed, then entire world chronology has to be changed. It's not just Buddha is related to Indian chronology. So there is a need for revising reviewing the entire world chronology, considering the Buddha Nirvana as the sheet anchor, not Jesus' birth.
So if we establish the Buddha chronology or appearance of Buddha, then we are going back 1300 years back from BC calculation easily, right?
Yes, yeah, even more, because presently Buddha is dated around 500 BC. We have to go to 1300, around 1800, means from the modern time onward, it would be around 3800 to 3900 years
Exactly.
back.
Yes.
So we have always counted Mahabharata war as an epoch, because we had never any doubt in our chronology. It's only the colonial era rulers, they created a doubt. So we could not come out of the doubt till date. So this is the tragedy.
So I think this session removes many doubts, and Vedi Rajaji, and for the audience, if you have any questions, you can always go to the YouTube, which will be launched within a week's time, next week sometime, and you can comment over there. For those of you who have a question for Vedi Raja, I have asked all your questions. So in case you have any more questions, he'll be back on our show with another topic, and we might discuss some Buddha chronology, because how the list of kings after the Mahabharat war up till Nanda dynasty is very clearly mentioned, and after the Nanda Maharaj, it goes right up till the time of Vishwarup, or Vishwa, I forgot the name. It goes to that king, uh, and which is comes close to Gupta period, which is already mentioned in Bhagavad Puran.
Yes.
And after Gupta period, everything is very clearly known. Some dates are again debatable after Gupta period. So do not rely on Wikipedia, do not rely on Quora. Those places don't give you the right information, and a lot of propaganda going on Wikipedia. And people, so if you rely on those dates, definitely you will be doubtful again. So with that, we'll end this show.
Yes.
And Vedi Radaji, thank you so much for your time. And you clarified a lot of points today from your perspective and for the audience perspective. And audience, if you like this video, do comment on it on YouTube, and we'll come back again. Till then, namaskar and enjoy your day. Namaskar.
Namaskar, namaskar.